Welcome to another Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the deferred sales trust is an amazing way for you to exit highly appreciated assets, eliminate the need for the 1031 exchange, create and preserve more wealth, defer a ton of tax, and really be able to invest at optimal timing. Each and every episode, we're joined by some of the best real estate, financial, and wealth and business minds in the world, where they share their ideas, deal stories, and inspiration. So together we make complex tax deferral strategies simple and passive income plans achievable. We're also streaming on expert CRE seekers as well. So we appreciate all the commercial real estate folks out there listening to us. I'm excited about our next guest. He is out of the great state of Philadelphia, and he's a Philadelphia native as well. And he's been interested in real estate for as long as he can remember. And as a visionary, he is recognized as an entry point into the field that has once dreamed about during the peak of the 2007 Great Recession. What was a loss for some was the launchpad for a dynamic, fulfilling career. And his initial work was focused on rehabilitation, relying on his strong work ethic and intimate knowledge of his hometown and innate business savvy. He has acquired several distressed properties and transformed them to beautiful homes, including amassing over a portfolio of over $6 million and over 100 real estate transactions and so much more. Please welcome to the show with me, Noel Parnell. Noel, how are we doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. And for our listeners to get to know you for the first time, would you give us a little bit more about your story and your current focus?
Yes. So spoke a little bit at it on a little bit in the intro, is that I got my start with real estate basically from the Great Recession. I just finished. I was a professional runner. 2008 Olympic Games were over. I didn't make the team. I was a little bit pressured to go into the workforce, got in there. And what do you know? 2009, the Great Recession hits. A whole building at GSK gets, shut down. And I remember, and I can still vividly, I could see the looks on, husbands, wives, my former colleagues, their faces. And from there, I never wanted anyone to ever have the power over my life. And that's how I ended up in real estate. I literally was kind of like mad at the world. Let me Google, how are the rich getting rich? And I came up with, it was like 90% of folks had real estate. And that's how I got my first start. So I actually purchased my first property in 2010. So I always kind of laugh at the interest rates, but my first interest rate was around 11%.
Yeah, 2010 interest rates were 11%, and you got started when everything was going haywire. I remember those days, right? Those are some tough days to be able to make to get started. But if you got started right, you can make some big money. So keep going there, Noel.
Yeah. So when I first got started, I had no idea that it would take it this far. And I was acquiring properties, about 3 to 4 properties from about 2010 to about 12. And then 2013 is when I really start taking off, and I was really buying, almost 10 to 14 distressed properties, turning them around. I was doing a BRRRR strategy where I was just kind of refinancing out. And of course, that was the golden ages, partly why I think we're in the issue we're in right now, where interest rates were just kind of, I have interest rates right now at 2.7 still on some mortgages that I have on some of my small residential that are like 3 units and 4 units. And from there, I just kind of kept parlaying. And then I realized there's a bigger play. And that's when I started getting into apartment building buying and using apartment syndications. And so I don't really consider myself a syndicator, as I just use syndication as a tool to acquire large apartment buildings. But anything that I can sign on my own, I'll do that signing on my own. But if it's a larger building, then I am definitely trying to syndicate. And even now, I am about to launch a fund, but that takes some time to make this debt fund.
Amazing, Noel. I love the progression from starting out, with 2008 crash, the fix and flips, going through that, and then moving into multifamily larger asset sale buying. And so, by the way, if you want to learn more about Noel, you can go to crowncapitalcorp.com. That's crowncapitalcorp.com. So, Noel, let's dive right into the topic at hand, which is leveraging multifamily assets to build wealth. So what would you say is the number one secret to doing just that? Let's see if we still have Noel. He might have the connection might be a little bit off. Noel, can you still hear us? Okay. Are you still there? The Wi-Fi
Yeah,
these days
I
is a
can.
little bit spotty. Yeah, you're back. Okay, yeah, exactly.
Yes,
We're
I'm
good.
here.
We're good now. So I don't know if you got the question, but it was leveraging multifamily assets to build wealth. What's the number one, secret to doing that, Noel? Looks like
To me, can you hear me? I just want to make sure.
it's kind of spotty. It's kind of back. It's kind of letting out. Let's see if it connects
It's messed up.
connects here again. It's a little bit. I think it's challenged right now. We'll see if Noel comes back here. I'll tell you what I think the number one
All right.
secret is, and then Noel, let's see how it
Yep.
compares to the notes.
There it
You're
is.
back.
There it is.
All right, all good. Here we go. All right, did you hear
Yep.
the question? If not, I can repeat it.
Yeah, yes. Can you repeat that for me?
Yeah, the number one secret to leveraging multifamily wealth. What would you say, to be able to build wealth? What would you say that you've been able to figure that out?
Having humility. And so I guess it's a two-part question. I think it's humility. And so humility to me means not by the true definition of, when you look at humility, but when I'm looking at humility's meaning, not being afraid to ask for help and ask to partner with individuals. If I go back into the story of how I made that process into apartments, it really came from some private lenders that I had on the small residential side. And I asked them, and they were investing with a Brian Adams. He's a very well-known syndicator, and they put me in contact with him. And I got to kind of indirectly mentor, and they were showing me items from a deal that they did. And so if I wasn't able to, just really like ask, I wouldn't be able to receive that. And I think the next thing is that when you're raising money, is that always you can't be too prideful to be like, hey, I need this. You should always ask. And I like to reference this book, The Who Not How. So Who Not How is a great book. So sometimes we're always trying to wonder, like, how can we get something done? But it's really like, who can connect this? So I'm really big in networking. And the next thing I like to do is that it's quality over quantity. I'm really big on quality. I'm only trying to do maybe 1 or 2 deals a year. I'm not really big on acquiring properties for acquisition fees. I'm not interested in flipping apartment buildings. I'm looking for long-term holds where I can get my investors in, and then I can, cash them out their full investment within 4 years, and then give them lifetime equity in the property, and I own it throughout until I'm ready to sell it and putting in something else bigger.
Okay, awesome. So it sounds like not being afraid to ask for help, right? But also getting in the right rooms with the right people that can mentor you, can show you something that and level up, your knowledge for the industry, right? And then also who not how, finding those who's to partner with or to work with versus just trying to do it yourself. And then focusing like a laser on the quality, not the quantity. Is that a fair summary, Noel?
Perfect. Because I know sometimes we always want to, I'm sure you've been to conferences. I've been to conferences. And the biggest thing when you go to conferences, people are, I have 3,000 doors. I have 2,000 doors. That's fine. I'm always concerned about, the quality of the product and what are you netting? I'm always really, concerned. What is the net? What are you netting? So I'm not really, bullish on saying I have this many units. I'm really concerned of what I'm going to be able to hand down to this young man right here. That's always one of the main goals. What can I hand down to this young man or my son right here?
Excellent. I love it. Yeah. And for those that aren't watching on YouTube, check it out on YouTube, Capital Gains Tax Solutions or the Expert CRE Secrets YouTube channel. Noel's with his son there, which is amazing, cool. And his son's pretty relaxed too on this podcast. You're doing a good job, son. So that being said, let's move into the next part. So you got humility. You got to make sure you're not afraid to ask questions, get in the right room. What's the next secret to building multifamily or leveraging multifamily assets to build wealth?
I think the next thing is to have a really, designated plan and be very meticulous about it. I mentioned earlier I use syndication as a tool. Well, I use real estate as a tool as well. So my ultimate goal is to buy into a major league franchise as a minority ownership. So I'm leveraging, my ownership in multifamily real estate and my net worth to eventually, 15 years from now is my goal, that I will have enough to actually buy into a sports team as a minority owner. So that's how, I'm really looking forward. So you have to see yourself where you want to be and then come back and really just pound the plan.
Okay, excellent. So having, I think, a clear vision and a compelling vision, right, that you can that is going to propel you forward, but then having a plan to reverse engineer and get there. And for yours, it's the sport team as a minority. Or if you had to choose one sport, Noel, which, or even one team, what would you choose there?
It would be the Eagles. It'll be the Philadelphia Eagles. And there's a lot to play when you're going. A lot of people don't understand. You can actually syndicate into sports teams. You can actually create a fund as a minority ownership into a sports team. But the stars have to line. There are a lot of major league teams that are privately owned. Some of them, don't sell often. So a lot of things have to align for you to purchase one. But for me, it can be hockey. It can be Major League Baseball. It can be soccer. That's the goal, just to kind of get my feet in there, and then, just keep parlaying.
I think that's great. I think it's really cool, and it's also leveraging your background with sports in a high level, right? And to be able to connect that. Why not
I think it's all connected.
make money while you do it, and have fun while you do it. And hey, if there any times you're gonna get with the Eagles is right now, man. They are red hot. So we're talking with Noel Parnell, crowncapitalcorp.com, crowncapitalcorp.com. Okay, cool. So we talked about designating a plan. We talked about who, not how. Being in the room with the right people, not being afraid to ask questions, understanding that real estate, at least for you, and for really for any of us, should be the tool towards the vision we're trying to unlock. What would you say the next secret to leveraging multifamily assets to build wealth, if you could think of one other?
I think one other is leveraging your network. I'm really big on LinkedIn. I know you heard me speak about my ultimate goal. I slide into DMs on LinkedIn with value, but I'm always asking, inquiring people that own minor league teams. Josh Harris, he just bought the Washington Redskins, Washington Commanders now. I'll go in there and I'll just ask them questions, and to say, like, how can I be of service to you? What can I do? So I would say use your network that is accessible to you, because I think people are closer to, what their goals are, but they're just really putting themselves sometimes inside of a box.
Got it. Okay. So making sure that you're leveraging the network, right? And everyone that you're around, right? And that makes sense. And that can also unlock deals too, right? You can find opportunities, you can find financing, obviously you can find capital. And so being engaged, especially like places like LinkedIn, love it. All right. Well, now you ready to geek out a little bit about capital gains tax, Noel?
Sure, let's hear it. Let's
All
go.
right. So, we found that a lot of people, they struggle with, clarifying their exit plans, right? They make all this money. And in fact, they have this big vision and dream to go in and buy this sports team, this business venture, this whatever it might be over there. But there's this pesky thing called a 1031 exchange, and this pesky thing called this capital gains tax, right? And, Philadelphia is one of the higher tax states. And so is New York, New Jersey, California, right? Where I'm originally from, it's California. And so I'm curious, Noah, what would you say is the biggest frustration when it comes to capital gains tax and the 1031 exchange as it pertains to any part of your business, whether it be raising capital, whether it be exiting assets? What comes to mind?
That we do take, when we're syndicating, we do take 1031 exchange individuals. I think the biggest thing is that people don't understand. They think that once they have the money, they can just go. They don't understand that they have to start the process way before they try to disperse that money or to actually execute a 1031. You actually are going to need an agent that's going to put you through the process. And sometimes I've heard it can take almost 4 to 6 months. And, for those stars to align where we can actually execute a 1031 properly. And capital gains, I was getting, I was getting hit on, my flips that I was doing in Philadelphia, especially, I think it went down a bit when President Trump was in office, but for the most part, I was getting creamed. And so that's what actually stopped me from doing flips any longer, because it wasn't worth it. And I was doing high end flips. So, I was profiting anywhere between, 190 to 225, on a flip. But after it's all said and done, I was like, was it even really worth it?
100%. Yeah. We call that the blockbuster way of exit planning, right? Because you go, either it doesn't work for short term, right? If you're fixing and flipping within a year, you're going to hit ordinary income tax, which is the highest and the worst. Now, if you hold it for more than a year, then yeah, you can get some cap gains tax. But then if you're going to 1031, you're like, the whole idea is to buy low and sell high, not sell high and buy higher. And so it's this weird spot. And so we did about $46 million of exits in Texas last year, where they tied up land and they held it, not even really held it for very long, but it's definitely less than a year. And then we exited without having to do a 1031. So 1031 doesn't even work for short term, right? And so that's why it's blockbuster. The second thing you mentioned is the 4 to 6 months to align, the stars to align. Guess what happens right now when you're trying to sell and you're selling a 3.5% interest rate and you're trying to get a 7 or an 8%? And the arbitrage between the cap rate, let's say at 5, that's where we're at right now, and 8 is not very great. It's about a 3% difference for what it used to be, the opposite. And so it's a complete nightmare because the debt is killing these deals. It's not the operations or the occupancies or the rents. And so now everything's out of whack. And so if you do a 1031, now you're putting yourself a chance to lose. And that's part of my story too, by the way, Noel. In 2008, the market completely crashed and we saw the 1031 hurt our clients. I was at Marcus and Millichap selling multifamily properties. And we're going, there's got to be a better way than just, you build this wealth for 5 or 10 years just to get trapped by the debt and the cap gains tax and running out of time. And then you just go, oh, well, let me just hand it back to the bank, or let me just lose everything that I've built. No. And so that's why we came out and we started Capital Gains Tax Solutions to solve this. In fact, in partnered with one of the smartest tax attorneys. And so we got a book called Building a Capital Gains Tax Exit Plan. And it breaks down how to eliminate the 1031 exchange forever, how to have freedom and flexibility, how to be out of debt. But even better, back to my original point, you can use the funds to partner with you to buy a real estate business franchise deal, syndicate, no 1031 required, no TIC required, works for crypto, business exits, high-end primary homes, real estate. The 1031 only works for investment real estate. And then you have to go into like-kind investment real estate, right? And so it's just broken. I mean, it's just old way of doing things. Any thoughts on anything I'm saying, Noel? I mean, have you heard of this before?
I echo all the statements, and most recently, within the last month, I was helping out a friend. She sold 2 restaurants, so she had almost $3+ million, and that she was trying to 1031, and it was a nightmare trying to find the right product to place that in, and it was just a complete disaster. I wish I would have did this earlier so I could have, gave her your number.
It's a case in point, everybody. Don't get caught in the 1031 shotgun wedding where you get married to something you don't really want to be and you're regretting it, right? And so go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com and get the deferred sales trust. Understand what it is, and we're happy to help everyone out there. That being said, Noel, you ready for the lightning round?
Yes.
All right. Knowing what you know now, if you can go back to your 25-year-old self, what's the one golden nugget make sure you tell yourself to do?
Oh, I would have went bigger. Well, I would have went larger earlier on. I had the means to go, and I shouldn't have. I guess that was the lightning round. I should have went bigger earlier on and not fool with like the C and D class properties.
Cool. What's the number one book you've recommended the most, or gifted the most in the past year?
Business Mastery, Tony Robbins.
Excellent. Next question: what's the number one leadership quote or theme that you strive to live by?
I don't know who said this, but I always say, I quote this a lot, is never accept a no from someone that doesn't have the power to tell you yes.
Oh, I like that. Next question. What are you most curious about right now?
Right now is actually the book behind you. That is what I'm most curious about right now.
Look at this. Look fun. Noel's just doing me. He's doing me a favor here. Just pointing this thing out. Look at everybody. Get the book, right? Get the book. Okay, cool. Building a Capital Gains Tax Exit Plan on Amazon. Hit number one bestseller on Amazon. Pretty cool. And one of the categories. This is the whole thing. But it's real estate and wealth. You know what I mean? All right. Next question. The number one AI tool, Noel, that you feel like is making the biggest impact for you, your investors, or clients?
Go high level. Go high level now with creating funnels for my acquisitions has really streamlined with my VAs and how we are acquiring properties and how we're underwriting and following up with leads. So I do enjoy Go high level.
Excellent, excellent. And last question: after all your success, helping all the people you've helped, building the wealth you've built, what would you say is the number one habit that you practice to stay centered in your values and stay encouraged to charge forward to reach even higher heights?
Right now is to really stay present in his life. I sometimes we can get consumed on all our wants and needs, but I had a friend that was saying like, hey, you're only going to get about 15 to 16 summers. That's it. And then they're going to be off doing their own thing. So I really come to appreciate all the time that I have with him. And knowing that while I am building this for him, I can't let it be consumed where I'm forgetting about him. So I'm always like to be present for him.
Noel, I think that's amazing. By the way, what's your son's name?
Kyler.
Kyler, baby. All right, Kyler, man. Your dad's, with you right now, and he's supporting you, and that's amazing. And the gift of presence, right? That's the definition. What is presence? It's a gift, right? And we have it each and every day. Love that. For our listeners, Noel, who want to get, first of all, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for the inspirational, the wisdom, the all of it. Right, it's been amazing. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on how to be, being humble, building a team, having a plan, having a clear, compelling vision. All of that is incredible. Love it. For our listeners who want to keep doing that, keep helping more people. And then number two, for our listeners who want to get in touch with you, we remind them one last time, what is the best place for people to find you?
Oh, yes. crowncapitalcorp.com, the website. When you visit there, I'm blasted all through there. I have a lot of videos up on the website, just talking shop. It's really geared for, white collar workers that are they're looking for something else. So we're just giving out gems on what to do, and I kind of view myself as a different type of investor where I'm not telling people like, hey, don't play in the stock market, just kind of play in the real estate, because I still have things in the stock market. I'm just letting everyone know there's other options out there. And, just be willing to learn. It's just like I'm always learning, and like, guess what? There's different new rules to this game that you can do this and this. So just always be willing. And that's what I place on our website.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I might be in Philly soon, and we have to get in a foot race. I want to see how my legs stand up against Noel. I played some hoops in college. That's about all I got. No, you probably smoke me, but maybe we'll play one-on-one, and we'll see how you do with hoops. I don't know. Maybe you have that too.
Absolutely.
Okay, right on. Well, thank you, Noel, for being on the show. I also want to thank all of our listeners for listening to the episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions Podcast. We're also streaming on Expert CRE Secrets. It's the YouTube channel. It's the podcast. And, we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they just struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options, clarifying the 1031 options, clarifying what's even available when exiting. And we want to give you a clear plan to take action. We got the book. You already checked that. You can check that out, Building Capital Gains Tax Explain. Go to Amazon, check that out. You can also go to our website, capitalgainstaxsolutions.com, get our free ebook. And that way you can get started today with an exit plan. We so appreciate everyone out there. Please share this with someone who could